Today we are going to review how to connect a Qodly application to Google Looker Studio to get some very nice reports, visual reports of the data that you have in your Qodly application. So here I have this application of mine. Let's open it in Qodly Studio. I have here quite a nice data model. It's a current application, and I have some bookings in here in the data class reservation. So let's preview a little bit this app just to check out the amount of data I have inside it. I have approximately 100,000 bookings, 500 agencies, 10,000 cars, 20,000 customers. These data, I want to get them in a Looker Studio report, just to display them. Let's go to Looker Studio here. And we are going to start by creating a new report. And here we're going to search Qodly Partner Connector here, which is a connector that we provide. And two things are asked. An endpoint and an API key. So to get this endpoint and API key, we just go here in our console, in the development environment, which is the environment I'm using, and here in the API keys section, I get here the endpoint. Let's copy it. And here for the API key, I will create a new one. My API key for Looker in the description. It's of type standard. The role is admin. I won't enter into details here. And I create my API key. I get it, I copy, and I paste. Okay. Several things are asked here, but I'm just going to select reservation here, which is the data class I want to connect. And here there are some additional settings that I will quickly describe. Here I can add a data class attribute of type date that Looker Studio will use as the main date range. Basically, by default, Looker Studio will ask for 1 month of data. And let's have a look here in my data model, the kind of date I could use. And I will select here the departure date here. So let's use it as is here. The pagination top is somehow a performance setting to allow you to fine-tune the amount of records that Looker will ask to the Qodly app. Here it will ask records by 10,000s, but even if you have more records, all the records will be retrieved for the query you will need, but they will be queried 10,000 by 10,000. But here I can increase or decrease this number if you notice some performance slowdowns, or you can fine-tune these settings if you want. Here it's a cache. There's a 15-minute cache here. It avoids querying too much your Qodly app. If you want to tune that, you could increase or decrease this cache. And here I can have a custom query filter if you want to add some additional filter to reduce the number of records retrieved each time. And here, additional attributes to query. I will describe that a little bit later. So let's just specify here the departure date as a date attribute for the data class reservation, and let's add this data source. That's it. So as you notice here, all the fields, all the scalar fields from my data class were retrieved properly. And now Looker Studio is querying my data. So 39 records, not 39 records, just because by default the car model here was used as the dimension. So here I will rename my report. So my app report, and I'm going to rename the newly created data source here, and I will say that these are reservations. Okay, that's great. Quite a lot of things to say. Let's play a little bit with this. As you noticed, car model, for example, here, it's not a real field of my app. It's an alias. So you have to know that aliases and computed attributes here will be retrieved also by the Looker connector. So I have it. I have them here. All of them are here. This allows quite a lot of flexibility. Okay, what I would like to do would be to display the top 10 agencies with booking based on the amount of bookings, based on the price of those bookings they have done based on the departure date. So to do so, I will need to sort them by departure agency here .id. The car model, I don't care. And here, instead of the sum of IDs, I will use the price here, which is the price of the reservation. So here Looker is querying my Qodly application to build my report. And I have it here. I have here the agency ID and the price, and they are sorted by price, total price, in fact, total, I can rename that field, total reservations price, yeah, okay. And here we are just going to say that it's a currency, it's in euros, let's say. Okay, a little bit clearer. Thing is, it's a shame that I have only the ID of the agency here, because it comes from this relation here, departure agency of my data model. The departure agency is an entity, is of type entity. It points to the agency data class, which is here. Here I have much more information, such as name and an address. I want to use them in Looker. So what I could do would be to add another data source and use the blend feature of Looker Studio, but I won't do that. There's a quicker way to do with our Qodly connector. which is here to edit the connection I've already done, and here use this setting here. I can use here a setting called to call relation attribute. So I will use the name of the relation, which is departure agency here, departure agency dot name, and now I will reconnect my data source, and this additional field will be now synchronized. So you see here there's a confirmation. I here have a new field, departure agency.name, and the ID will just disappear. Okay, let's go and close. Now my chart is incomplete because the ID that I was using disappeared from my data source, but now I can use here the departure agency name instead. Okay, so now much better. I can have here the departure agency name instead of the ID, and this is done magically with our Qodly connector here with order. Okay, let's say that I want a top 10. I can here filter and say I want a top 10 of my agencies. Okay, nice. I have my top 10 agencies. So I will insert here a small text. Okay, top 10 agencies. All right. All right. Let's add now a date control, date range control here. As I said, the auto date range is based on the last 30 days, but I can remove a little bit here and use, for example, last 14 days here. And directly everything will be updated. Okay, that's it. Perfect. Funny thing, I could here, I can here duplicate this and make it, for example, a time series chart based on the departure date once again, the breakdown we don't care, and here I want to see the total reservation price once again. Oh. That's it, much better. And I have here a chart of the amount of money I get here every day in my app. Perfect, 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 very nice. And what if I would like to display all of this on the map? It's quite easy, but there is one thing. So here on my data model, every agency has some latitude, longitude, and more importantly, an address. But I don't have here the address on my model, so I will add it. I edit my data source. The connection, and I don't want to specify all the fields one by one, so here I will just put a star. And now all the fields of my data class departure agency are added to my data source, which is quite magic here. Alright, so now I can insert a bubble map here and configure my chart by adding the departure agency.address. And on the tooltip here, I want to put the departure agency.name, and I will here specify a size here, a size based on the total price once again, so total price here. And the chart will be updated. That's here. Okay, so now you get hopla, a nice map with here on the price. I will specify once again that it's a currency. And that's it. You get agency per agency, the amount of reservation prices they get here on the total for the period, of course, here. This is quite nice. Here I will also put it, it's already a currency, perfect, yeah. And okay, what if now I want to get information about the customer? It's quite easy. Here we will do some room, we'll make some room for it. Here we have the top 10 agencies, but let's suppose I want to get the top 10 customers. Quite simple. Once again, I go here, I edit my reservations here, and I will add here a customer.star. Because customer is the relation I have here on my data class. So here customer, I have the fields, first name, last name, email, phone, address, birth date. They are all here, including here the calculated attributes here, first full name. So let's apply. And that's it. Now that I have my customer data, I can just duplicate this. And here, instead of the agency name, I will just use the customer full name. And I have my top 10 customers. That's it, perfect. And let's tune that a little bit here. Departure, well, let's just name it agency, like that. Here, let's say it's my customer, nice. And here, no, nothing. Yeah, it's okay. So I did a lot of stuff. And this report, you can share it with anyone you want by using the share button. Let's put it, for example, as unlisted, and here you have a link that anybody can use to review your report. So here in a new tab, for example, you get it like that. But I would like to display this in my Qodly app, which would be perfect. So for this, I will use an iframe. So let's create a new page here. Let's call it a Looker dashboard. Create, and now I have this Looker dashboard. I have here an iframe component. So this iframe component, I got it from Qodly custom components. Here you can get them by just searching custom components here and get here the iframe, which is just here. Let's go back to Qodly Studio. This component requires a data source to get the Qodly URL, the Looker Studio URL. So here I create a source, Qodly source. So here in the initial value, I will use here the URL for embed report. So here I get a URL and I will use that one. That's it. And I copy this here and I use it as an initial value. That's it. All right. So here in my Qodly source, I use here the source and you see it's here. So there's quite some tuning to do, because if I run it like that, it will appear in a very small area, and here I don't have all the rights I will need. So to find that, pay attention to this sandboxing section here of the URL and select here your iframe and add here various things. So I see that you have a low storage access, so let's add them. Storage here. On the second one, it's allow scripts here. Here you can have same origin, yeah, and pop-ups. Much better. Dimensions here are 600 and 450. Let's use that also as dimensions for this iframe. So 600 by 450. Let's now try this, and it works. I have it here. It's a little bit small, but I can adapt it to my app. So let's double this maybe here and put this by this. Okay, let's center that on the page. Okay, and I think it will be much better like that. Yeah, what nice. I have my report here, which is totally usable. Okay, and if I want to integrate that in my main application, well, it's quite simple. I can just open the main page here, and let's suppose I want to add a quick button somewhere like this here, dashboard, that when I click on that, I can use a navigation action, and the target will be this. So the target is here, a page, and it's my Looker dashboard, and I want to navigate in a page loader, which is this one. Yeah. So now let's run this one last time, and I will use my dashboard button, and I get my dashboard in my Qodly app. So it's real-time synchronized with a 15-minute cache. But the great thing now is that I have this dashboard integrated into my app. And I can, for example, filter this, and it will work accordingly. That's it. Well, that is the end of this quick tutorial, quick demonstration about how to build some nice Qodly reports with Looker Studio and integrate them into my Qodly app. Thank you.